On today's episode, Tesla's secret new project Juniper, how to charge your Tesla with excess solar power, and FSD Beta V11 arrives as parking assist makes a comeback. Let's talk about the latest Tesla rumor. According to news outlet Reuters, there is a planned revamp of the Model Y codenamed Juniper. This news comes from 3 unnamed sources with quote-unquote knowledge of the plan, and said plan will reportedly include updates to both the exterior and interior of the Model Y, but aside from that, we really don't have much to go on, and that's pretty much par for the course on these kinds of reports. Often they turn out to be bogus, but sometimes there is a legitimate truth mixed in with the fantasy, so let's see if we can figure this one out. The Investor Day event earlier this month showcased a lot of upcoming work for Tesla. They talked about a lot of changes to the way that they build cars that are intended to affect all of the company's facilities and production lines. And the Model Y has long served as a testing ground for a bunch of new manufacturing ideas at Tesla. It was the first to receive Giga castings, structural battery packs, and 4680 cells. Add to that some parallel rumors about other legacy Tesla vehicles getting a redesign, and there's definitely enough background rumbling to think this report from Reuters has some truth to it. We might have to go full conspiracy mode here, so grab your box of salt and be ready to dump it on your face. First, let's look at a similar case, Project Highland. This is the alleged redesign of Tesla's Model 3 sedan, also first broken by Reuters, claiming unnamed sources close to that project. So, either these two projects are directly connected or equally fictitious. Juniper trees are known to grow at altitudes as high as 16,000 feet above sea level, creating one of the highest tree lines on Earth in the Himalayan mountains. There are no coincidences. Project Highland rumors did generate some images of conspicuously wrapped up Model 3 sedans spotted in the wild, and some people on this platform, who will remain nameless, but I'm sure many of you saw the video, connected a bunch of non-existent dots to claim that Highland was itself a next-generation manufacturing revolution coming soon. But the important things to note are the choice of words for Project Highland. When news broke, all we knew was that the Model 3 was getting tweaked with efficiency in mind. Tesla wanted to reduce the number of components and the complexity of the interior while updating things like the infotainment display. Not a revolution, just a soft refresh. That wasn't too surprising at the time, and it made perfect sense for the company to do. After all, the Model 3 was launched in 2017, and while it had been steadily updated with newer tech and minor design changes since then, the basic methods of assembly stayed the same. Shortly after that, on January 15th, Tesla's chief designer Franz von Holzhausen appeared on the Ride the Lightning podcast and discussed a wide range of design topics. He gave specific mention to the team's work on the Model 3, the Roadster, and the Model S, as well as the Cybertruck, of course. Again, interesting to us that he mentioned work on the Model 3 in the same breath as the Roadster and Model S, because as far as we've seen, the design of the Model 3 hasn't been touched since late 2020. But while he was very tight-lipped about anything too specific, Franz did paint a picture of the overall philosophy of design that Tesla was moving towards. And here we got the same picture as we did from the Project Highland leaks. Tesla was moving towards a more efficient process with a reduction in parts complexity across the board. Then came Investor Day and brought many of these things together. The Tesla event, held on March 1st, showed off many aspects of upcoming Tesla plans, including a new facility in Nuevo León, Mexico. But again, an overarching theme to the discussion at this event was that Tesla was going to be working on new layouts and production procedures to lower the amount of parts used overall, while designing an entirely new vehicle platform at the same time. Franz was the speaker during this portion of the event, so we can tell why he had to be so tight-lipped in earlier interviews. Although the term Highland was never specifically mentioned even one time throughout the entire Investor Day presentation, so put down the salt. This is where we can bring our focus back to a potential refresh for the Model Y. Because the discussion about production efficiency and Tesla's goal to apply new procedures across their facilities implies that all the vehicles Franz talked about in his Ride the Lightning interview would have to be updated. And given that the Model Y is the company's best-selling vehicle, it would be odd if they didn't take the opportunity to update the design a little bit to bring it in line. The Model Y is already Tesla's most advanced platform from a manufacturing perspective, but even so, the Investor Day presentation made it clear that Tesla designers still aren't perfectly happy with the way that it's being assembled. It's more than likely that Tesla has been prepping their design teams with this in mind for some time now, knowing that new tech and refined production techniques would be leading to a great opportunity to cut down on waste and thus the cost of making their vehicles. So, why the secrecy? Announcements about redesigns could be used to drum up some interest ahead of a new release, but there's a couple of reasons for a company to hold back. The first is that maybe they're not very far along in the design process yet. Showing off a new concept car is a great way to generate some hype, but if it's going to take a few years for the design to actually materialize, then maybe it's best to wait until there's something more solid to show off. All we need to do is glance at the Cybertruck's development and all the public changes made to it over time, or how about the next generation Roadster? Where's that thing at? And while that's likely a reason Tesla hasn't announced any new project themselves yet, the bigger reason is likely that same connectivity between the two projects we mentioned earlier. If Project Juniper is legitimate, then it's happening at the same time as Project Highland and work on the new Tesla vehicle platform, design work on the Roadster and the Model S, and, of course, the new factory in Mexico. This facility could easily be the centerpiece of the company's upcoming changes, a convenient place to test new production layouts and construct new parts and vehicles. And even if that's not what's in store for Giga Mexico, the announced changes to Tesla's production lines and logistics are still being worked through. It would make sense that Tesla would want to keep a lid on the specifics of a Model Y refresh if it would shed too much light on that project. But as with Project Highland, it probably won't be long before we get a couple of peeks at some wrapped-up prototypes of a new Model Y, and some guy on the internet releases a new theory about how this is actually Tesla's secret Model Epsilon made from carbon nanotubes or some nonsense like that. So keep your eyes peeled and your tinfoil hats at the ready. A new update to the Tesla iOS app has an interesting new addition: the ability to charge your car using excess solar power. The functionality isn't live yet, but by looking at the code strings for the update, we can see that the ability is there, just unactivated, which is normal for new upcoming functions. We have to figure out what it will do based on the code, but from first glance, it looks like the function will allow users to do a couple of things. First off, it will allow Tesla owners with a solar and Powerwall setup to set their vehicle to charge from excess solar power. You'll also be able to set locations for this to happen, like the Sentry mode, and you can also tell it to only charge up to a certain percentage of your battery. This is a very flexible feature, but given the long silence from Tesla about the solar energy side of their business, it's making us think there's something more going on. Remember back to the March 1st Tesla Investor Day presentation? Among the many subjects touched on was a brief discussion of Tesla's energy business. The focus was definitely on the new Megapack XL, but the presenters touched on the upscaling of the entire energy collection and storage side of the company, with many gigawatt-scale projects in the works. Commercial and public projects are one thing, but Tesla kept saying that they want to retire fossil fuels, and that takes individual customers as well as the gigantic solar and battery farms we saw popping up all throughout the last couple of years. This new functionality in the Tesla app blends smoothly into the virtual power plants and the ramp-up of power storage production Tesla has been working on. Just like with the VPPs, allowing users to control how much of their vehicles are charged with purely off-the-grid solar energy is huge. It gives users more tools to cut out the middleman and fossil fuels as much as possible, and it follows the company's goal to use software to help the transition from fossil fuels. It would be interesting to see if this is all going to build towards a larger push by Tesla to increase their solar business, but it would be great to see some extra attention paid to that area as we see things like the Megapack and virtual power plants getting a lot more attention themselves. Tesla's latest software release for their vehicle systems has begun to roll out to users, and aside from the new FSD beta update, the patch includes the new Tesla Vision Park Assist. The original Park Assist was based on ultrasonic sensors, which were phased out of newer Tesla vehicles in October of 2022 for the Model Y and Model 3 at the start, and then the Model S and X afterwards. Ultrasonic sensors use sound waves to judge distance between objects, and they are pretty good at what they do, but Tesla has been building towards a full-based camera system for a while now, and it looks like they've gathered enough data to pass the system to testers who have the right equipment installed in their vehicles. Reportedly, users with older models that still have USS-equipped sensors are still able to use the original Park Assist, so no worries if you haven't gotten the new Tesla Vision system. For those who do, though, you will get to enjoy a 360-degree parking assist, which reportedly approximates the same input the USS hardware used to provide, but using the vehicle's cameras and occupancy network to predict an outline to help you park. Occupancy networks use sensors and cameras to build volumetric data based on objects around the vehicle, but it's not just camera data because that's too slow. Occupancy networks use algorithms to predict the rough forms of the things around you without needing to fully map them. This saves time and memory, making it much faster in theory. Current reporting seems to be showing that the new system is not as fast or reliable as the ultrasonic system, but that will definitely change as users help train the system to better identify shapes. Parking Assist is one of those very useful features that visibly helps drivers keep safe, so it's good to see it coming back to the Tesla software, not to mention giving those new algorithms a workout. We can't improve them without training them in the wild, after all. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up today if you liked it. That is so important for getting our content out to more people. If you enjoy the content, then you'd probably also enjoy our weekly newsletter, so sign up with the link down below at theteslaspace.com. A huge thank you to all of our Patreon supporters who are listed on the screen now. You help us make the best content we can, and we really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.